Am I audible? Okay. Push, whose name is very famous, I'm sure you would have heard of him, Gorakshanath. Okay, so he was considered like an incarnation of Shiva. So Gorakshanath, there are texts of Gorakshanath and all that, but that is more aligned to Hatha Yoga and those Paddhatis, etc. So the Tantric tradition of the Sabar Mantras comes from these Nath yogis. They introduced the idea that let's give something to the people, and that was a time, mind you, when the north was already being ravaged by various invasive forces and the structures were already falling. So in a way, the Vedic Dharma was more in the south than in the north at that time. Even a place as holy as Kashi Vishwanath, if it can fall, then you can understand what can happen to other places. Okay, Kashi is like the cream of everything. Vishwanath he's the Lord that can take from, harmonizes the core Vedic sadhanas right up to the augur sadhanas in the cremation ground of Manikarnika. That is Vishwanath. He can sit in the middle and harmonize everything. You can do both without a conflict, only in Kashi, nowhere else. That kind of a place gets damaged by certain forces outside and all that, etc. So in that condition, these Nath yogis say that we have to give people some kind of a sadhana which is fast acting. That is one of the characteristics of the Sabar Mantras. It will be fast acting, it will be non-Sanskrit, and it will have less restrictions than a formal Tantra sadhana. So formal Tantra sadhana, you need a mantra, you will have Upadesham and all that is there. But even after that, a Sanskrit mantra takes a hell lot of time before it actually activates properly. And that is the year of the Mantra Shastras. If it activates, then it's fantastic. Then it will take you to places you can't imagine. But before it activates, and there are so many people keep chanting mantras, etc., all that, but doesn't producing result takes time, Sanskrit mantras. That is the nature of the classical languages, by the way. And there are, at one point I was doing some research with some of my friends who are interested in occult studies of the Western varieties. So there are texts of the ancient, biblical texts which are from in the original Greek and Latin. So they have certain mantric qualities. It is in the language that is there. Sanskrit is irreplaceable because when they say that Sanskrit is the language of the gods, that is one way of looking at it. The way I look at it, it is the language through which you can create gods and bring them here. Okay, that is the brilliance of Sanskrit. And you'll see rishis actually doing tapasya for centuries and centuries, and Vishwamitra, they say, he was doing the Gayatri for 1000 years, etc. The power of the language is such, the power of the language is so, so we hear this term that scientific, it's not scientific. Scientific is science, current science is very materialistic. It is very rational and logical, but aligned to certain occult realities which is not visible to the ordinary world. That is why Sanskrit has this terrific power. Even if you have not the single most ounce of bhakti, forget you know nothing about the deity, you know nothing about the process. If your concentration power is good, and in this age it is not possible, by the way, I'm just saying at a previous age, by following the exact process, your pronunciation, not just pronunciation, the mantra shastra and the traditions that are there, you will still be able to manifest the deity. That is the power of Sanskrit. It will not happen in any other language. Push this side. It will happen in classical languages, because classical languages have a certain tendency of certain, let's not go into that, another topic. Sabar Tantra was this, that you can manifest, you can have some connection, maybe not as great as the Sanskrit one, but something more immediate. There is an immediacy about the process with the deity if you do it in the local language. Only criteria was that you need bhakti, strong bhakti. Bhakti kiske upar lana hai? The bhakti was, see, deities are there. I know there is Shiva, I'm going to the Shiva temple, I'm going to the Vishnu temple, but is he even responding? Does he know that I am there? That is the big question. Okay. But the Guru is there. The Guru is physical. If the Guru is not responding, I can go to his house and say, boss, I need help. Or if he doesn't have the capacity, I'll go to some other Guru. The Guru is a physical reality in this plane. So 99% of the Sabar Mantras will go like this. Meri bhakti guru ki shakti furo mantra ishwari vacha. This is a very simple formula they used to do. You don't have the shakti. Tumhara sirf bhakti hai. It is the Guru's order that will make the mantra work, and does it bring you the result? Works excellently. The biggest example of a Sabar Stotra everybody knows, but people don't understand it that way, is Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman Chalisa, 1,000,000 things you can do, but it is entirely Sabar. Entirely Sabar. It's from that tradition it comes. Okay. And in fact, the Tantra of the Nath yogis, they used to believe that there are 3 deities who respond very fast to any human problems. If very fast means still there will be people who will not succeed. I'm saying that all things taken into consideration compared to other deities. First is Anjaneya Hanuman. Number 2 is Bhairava. And number 3 is certain forms of Ma Durga. So they used to teach people that either of these 3 blessings you take first, and then you go into the upasana of other deities. Shiva will take a lot of time. Tripur Sundari to chhodi do. Jaan nikal jayega wo tak pahunchte. So like that. But these 3 deities, somehow it's like they are closer to the physical plane. That was their experience. So they would encourage their disciples, engage in sadhana of these deities to the extent that you can have a fruitful interaction. It is not just enough that I worship Hanuman. It should be that tomorrow I have a problem, I invoke his help and he actually helps, and it leaves no doubt. It should not be that there is a coincidence and a retrofit. मैंने कुछ पूजा किया था, शायद it is, I think it is Hanuman only who helped. Maybe it could be Vishnu also, I'm not sure. No, ऐसा नहीं. होगा तो ऐसा होगा कि there will be no doubts. And in fact it works that way. It is not even the first Sabar Mantra that I ever learned was from that, my first guru. He gave me a mantra of Narasimha. It was a Sabar Mantra. And he said that you will need it at some point in your sadhana. This is for your protection, Atma Raksha. If you are going to, in Tantra sadhana, you have to sometimes go to spaces which are not normal, like you have to enter into the cremation ground for Virachara practices, etc. So you will need to protect yourself. Only condition he had given at that time is that you will not use it to protect anybody else. So that I don't take any additional responsibility and then make a fool of myself. Because protecting yourself is itself a big deal in certain cases. So, but Siddhi of these mantras come very fast. There is a process. It's not, processes, basically it has to come from somebody who has already done it. You cannot pick it from a book, and you must have intense faith on the Guru. So this is the Sabar Tantra Paddhati. This generated primarily from Gorakshanath. Gorakshanath was considered as the main Nath yogi who introduced Sabar. Gorakshanath's guru is more interesting. Both of them are interesting, no offense. Both of them. And Gorakshanath, by the way, is the same pitha from which you have Yogi Adityanath. Okay. And just to mention, the Naths are so influential that Gorakshanath's disciple was Gaharinath. Gaharinath's disciple was Nivrittinath, and Nivrittinath's younger brother in Maharashtra. Anybody who has any idea of Maharashtra will know the Varkari Sampradaya there, Gyaneshwara. Gyaneshwara was Nivritti's brother. Gyaneshwara also comes from the same Nath Sampradaya. Only thing is that what Gyaneshwara did was, he is like Vishnu himself, so he gave a paddhati and a sadhana which masses can connect. Even if, see, whenever there is Tantra involved, Tantra is always, there is some karma kanda involved in Tantra. Tantra is never entirely Bhakti Marga. Bhakti is there. Bhakti is taken for granted, but you have to apply the process. The process is important. Like I remember once I was, one Uttara Sadhak was very, very fantastic gentleman. He works in a company in Delhi, but he's also a terrific caliber sadhak. So I had some doubts. I had asked him. So he was explaining to me, it was in the younger days. He says that if the Vidhan says that mantra ko 1000 बार जप करना 1000 times, you have to do 1000. 1001 means your sadhana is gone for a toss. 999 means your sadhana is gone for a toss. It doesn't matter, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है 1000 हो गया, अभी 2000 3000 करता कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Zero result. The vidhanam is very important because it is not humanly thought out कि कुछ अच्छा लगा दिया, अच्छा लग रहा है, ऐसा नहीं. It is, as I think somebody was mentioning. So it comes from mantra drashtas, people who had that ability to see it. You and I don't have it. So we follow, we take it in the word of mouth. That is, as Nitin was saying, the Shastra is important. Shastra is important because, and the Guru is important till the time the Guru is following the broad guidelines of the Shastras. Moment the Guru takes off from the Shastras into some other domain, tata bye bye, you come back here, because end of the day, one day or the other, it's like this. You cannot have, I think you were saying, you cannot have infinite intuition. You cannot have infinite. Nobody has it. Nobody means nobody. And you take the most powerful Paramhamsa and go and ask him the most difficult problem in mathematics. वो जवाब दे देगा तो I will touch your feet. It's impossible. Everybody has a domain. In that domain, अपने गली में सब शेर. ठीक है? That is why the universe is created this way. That is why there are so many subjects. If that were possible, then you would not need a university and so many subjects. सब बैठ के साधना करो, सब पता चल जाएगा. नहीं होगा. You must have some competence in that area. Sadhana can align your mind towards that. That's yes, it's possible. But if you have zero knowledge, तो तुमको आएगा ही नहीं वो चीज. So what was I saying? I forgot.